Welcome to the Bruce Lee podcast. My guest this week is another member of our warrior family. Diane Doan plays the cunning and strong tong leader Mai Ling on Warrior. But I know Diane as a lovely, sensitive, and talented soul whose gentleness precedes and informs her strength. Originally from Canada, Diane started off as a dancer until she found acting in high school. Diane has appeared in a number of hit shows, including Disney's Descendants, History's Vikings, DC's Legends of Tomorrow, and ABC's Once Upon a Time. I am so thrilled to share our vulnerable and engrossing conversation with you all about family, acting, warrior, her first comedy, and diving into the unknown. I had such a great time with Diane, and I know you will too. So listen in and get to know and love Diane Doan on the Bruce Lee podcast. Hey everyone, welcome to the Bruce Lee podcast. I'm so excited for our guest this episode. Please welcome Diane Doan. Hey Diane.
Hi Shannon, thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to be speaking to you.
Thank you for even thinking of me to put me on this podcast. I think it's so lovely.
Well, I think you're so lovely. So, this season, this cycle, our theme is family, and you're part of the warrior family, which is part of the Bruce Lee family, which is part of my family,
which is insane to say out loud. Whenever I catch myself saying it, I'm like, we're keeping Bruce Lee's legacy alive. We're trying to, impart a little bit of his essence for this generation, for this, whoever is that's consuming our show. And that is bonkers to me. I mean, I can't believe that I'm a part of this show that means so much to you, but also our warrior family. I know from the beginning, we've been so proud of what it stands for and what it means. And now that people are, able to access it more, I should say, has been just a whirlwind of emotion. Every time someone comes up to me, which I'm not saying is a ton, but I'm so grateful and I'm so shocked. I don't know why I'm always so shocked. And because, we've been sitting on it since 2017.
Yeah.
And Manny, my fiance, he's like, you gotta stop being so shocked. Like, just, it's a little weird at this point. Know that people love your show. I'm like, I mean, I don't know. It's just great. Yeah. It's
well, of course we love the show, but I have to say it does sort of seem like unilaterally people who see the show, because obviously not everyone's seen it, but they love it. They love the show. And
I mean, and all communities, might I add, like it's almost a rite of passage for the Asian community to have to watch it and have to love it. But I mean, anyone and everyone has come up, and it's just so lovely to know that, our hard work is being appreciated.
Yeah. Well, and I know I messaged you about this already, but I happened to meet Lisa Ling not too long ago, and she was telling me the story about how she was eating in a restaurant and you happened to be there, and she's such a huge fan of Warrior. She was like, "Oh my God, Mai Ling is here."
Can we just repeat that sentence and really take that in, that Lisa Ling was freaking out about Warrior? I mean, it just so happened that I was there, but Warrior as a whole. And I swear, Shannon, I thought she was looking at the wrong person. We had masks on, right? And at that point, we were allowed to take them off, and they were taking her temperature. And I just see this, haloed woman glowing from the other side of the room, and her lovely husband, Paul. And she's just like, and this was me. I was like, oh. And when she started freaking out, I'm like, I'm freaking out about, are you kidding me? It's just what a community that it's built for anyone. And I know not a lot of cast members are here in LA, but when they get here, it's just a warm blanket ready to hug you. It's just so lovely.
It
And
is.
what
It
a
is.
champion she's been of our show. I mean,
I
she's
know.
hosted, that live chat on Twitter, which was so lovely and
Yeah, and she does post about our show all the
all
time, and
all the
oh,
time. I
so
know.
so wonderful.
Lisa Ling, I just can't. I don't know. Nothing could have prepared me for that evening. I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, it's funny because we do always talk amongst ourselves about how much our warrior family is a family. Like,
yeah,
we legit love each other and get along, and everyone, like, not just the Asian cast, not just
mhm,
the actors, but like everyone, you
mhm.
know?
Yeah.
And so what is that feeling of our warrior family for you? Like,
I
as an
kind of
actor, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, what is that feeling?
like, thinking back, honestly, I don't know how I try to break down how it worked for our family because so many sets, you're lucky if you walk away with one new friend, or most times it's just like, I'm done with that job. I'm going to let it go and, carry on with our lives. But with Warrior, I think it just happened that the cast or the group of people that you and Justin and Jonathan kind of rallied together, there was not a single ego. There's no time for an ego. We just knew what we were making, and that was the priority. Like, we didn't let ourselves get in the way of this story that you guys allowed us to be a part of. And I think that was the main thing. There was no ego. And the fact that we were all trapped on an island, I keep saying this, but we were in Cape Town for 6 months of the year, and not
Yeah.
having anyone else there
Mm,
forced us to rely and lean on each other. And
mm,
that's something that I've shot overseas once, but to go on to another show that was already established, I think that's harder,
sure.
like, to try to make roots. And so we were just all in this together. So, I mean, a story that I can remember was season one. We would wrap shooting and we were there for like 10 to 12 hours a day. And
Yeah.
Manny was visiting me, and I came home and I'm like, great, we've got reservations at this restaurant. So and so is going to meet us there. And it was probably half whoever shot that day was going to meet us for dinner. And he looked at me, he's like, you just spent 12 hours with these people and you're going to go have dinner with them and you're going to see them tomorrow. Like, he couldn't wrap his head around it. And it was because he shot in LA, and as soon as you are wrapped, you go back to your life.
Yeah.
But as soon as we were wrapped, our lives were each other. And like,
Yeah.
what a bonding experience. We
Yeah.
probably every weekend, every night, if we could, we would just, whether it's I walked to Olivia's apartment, or
Yeah.
Joe and I would work every single day, so we grab dinner afterwards. Or it just
Yeah.
was like, to know that I had someone that I could call up at any moment, whether it's
Yeah.
Koji or anyone. I could have called anyone.
Yeah.
Like, how
Yeah.
important was that?
Oh,
I don't have that on any other set, I could say. And
yeah.
yeah, the word family is, I feel like that's by definition what our show is. It's just a
Yeah.
family. I know that I can call JT, or if I'm in New York, I can meet up with Brad for a coffee, or I can run
Right.
into you, or we can meet up. I mean, who can you say that
Right.
about? It's
Right.
so rare, and we really are so it lucked out. There's no, I mean, going back for season 3, who knows about egos, but just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
It's all right. We'll just put everyone in their
Well,
place if they haven't.
but yeah, I feel like we just knew how lucky we were with
Yeah.
this story and with this show, and what it could mean for the community, or
Yeah.
just imparting some history on that's never been shared before, that's never been dived into in the way that we do it. I feel like, yeah, our priority was just too important to not be, united as a team, as a family.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's wonderful. You really
Mhm.
described that really, really well. And also, just the bond that was formed and how it was formed. And,
Mhm.
that's really wonderful. It's really important.
And
So,
I think it's so genuine. It
yeah.
wasn't forced. If we're going to spend 3 hours in that stunt gym every single morning, there
Yeah.
are bodies that are going to be hurting. I'm sure there's feelings that are going to be hurt, but we're
Yeah.
all just like rallied together to lift each other up. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just as simple as I can put it. And the
Yeah.
fact that every day after our gym, we would go eat lunch and sit together at a big long table. I mean, it's just, yeah. I'm so grateful for this warrior family. Honestly, it's been amazing.
Yeah, yeah, me too, I have to say, and just how we've all kept in touch,
Mm-hmm.
even though even though we thought our show was fully canceled and all of that, like, we kept in touch, and here we are getting to go back and do it again. I'm so excited.
So it's the WhatsApp chat that will not die. That's what like. We always had it, whether it's renamed as like 3 or whatever, it's Warrior 1, 2, or 3. But yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I'm so grateful that I just have to say that you and Justin and Jonathan really, I mean, boots on the ground made season 3 happen.
Mm.
I know it has so much to do with, the viewership and the audience out there, our fans, if we call them that, but to kind of get a little glimpse behind the curtain about how that all went down is just, our show technically wasn't supposed to go on.
No,
No,
no.
and I remember talking to people being like, yeah, it's a no-brainer it got picked up. I'm like, you have no idea how
Yeah,
it wasn't supposed to keep going.
yeah. It's actually a miracle that it
It's
got
a
picked up. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, because it was fully canceled, like, sets gone, like,
Oh my
wardrobe
gosh.
gone, everyone released from their contracts, like, it's really is quite a feat, and there
Mhm.
were a lot thank you, but there were a lot of people and a lot of unsung heroes as well that
Mhm.
really pulled for this, including all of you, by the way, like, and I remember talking to Jonathan and him saying, everybody seemed so positive that we were gonna be able to, just fight the good fight here, and I kept saying to myself, why do they think that?"
I mean, well, Jonathan is the pessimist of the creatives. He's like he calls it the realist. I'm like, Brad's been lighting that torch since the day we left Cape Town. He's like, I will see you back. And we're like,
Yeah.
someone's got to tell Brad this may not happen.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah, no, but
yeah.
that's wonderful. So you mentioned Bruce Lee, and being
Mhm.
able to do something within, his body of work. What is your sort of earliest memory of Bruce Lee? Like, how does he, I don't know if you have like a Bruce Lee origin story, if he's just someone you've always known about, or, what is your connection there?
Well, my parents are immigrants to Canada, so I'm first generation, and they came not knowing any English
Mhm.
whatsoever. And it's funny that um, your father's American movies and Cheers are the 2 shows that really taught my dad, if anything, maybe not my mom, but my dad English. And so we would, he wouldn't allow us to watch any lovey dovey kind of movies, no romantic movies, but it
Mm,
was martial arts movies were in our household. So I
mm,
grew up watching Bruce Lee, Jet Li, Jackie Chan, everyone. And I think in large part, it was him trying to keep our culture alive.
mm,
We moved to a very small, mainly Caucasian town,
mm,
and I didn't have any other um, Asian people around me as examples of who we were supposed to be. And at that time, I remember so distinctly my parents wanting us to just blend in.
mm.
And I didn't. I mean, so clearly, me and my sister stuck out like a sore thumb. And
Yeah.
I didn't have friends growing up. And she just would say it's because I was difficult. But I
Mm,
think in part, it's because I was different.
yeah.
I didn't look like them. I didn't eat the same food. We brought, fried rice or Vietnamese dishes with fish sauce, and we were made fun of. And I think coming home and watching your father's films
Mm,
was a way for my parents to say, or my dad to say, we are mainstream. We
yeah.
are relatable. So I'm getting a little emotional, but I grew up on your
Yeah,
father's films. We had
yeah.
these VHS tapes of I'm sure they're still in the house somewhere, but I think it was really important for him to show us those films to be like, we're stronger than, what some people may be saying about us.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
It
I will
touches
say
me too. Yeah.
yeah, I always wanted to say that to you. I don't think I have before, but
Yeah.
my father was so proud of me being a part of Warrior, and
Oh.
we may need to pause this part. But,
Yeah.
yeah, the second night, he was like, he knew that you were a part of it. This is a little creepy. He Googled you and he was like, she has his chin. You know, it's like whatever part of the facial feature. Oh my, yes, of course that's his daughter. You would see it from a mile away. I'm like, Dad, what are you talking about? But
Oh, I
yes,
wanna meet your dad.
they came season 2. They were able to come by,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it was so special to just walk the streets, and my mom was floored by her sets. You know, they were so realistic and of Chinatown, and I have videos of her, like, playing with the woks and, like, cooking as if being an extra. I'm like, "Okay, mom." Yeah, it's really special, and I do think a large part of my childhood was watching Bruce Lee films and just being
Yeah.
immersed in, like, who we are as people and, like, the strength behind his characters and the resilience. Yeah,
Yeah.
I took a lot away from that's my Bruce Lee origin, I will say.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
Thank you for sharing it.
of course.
And I hope your parents come for season 3 so I can meet them.
I'm trying to get them over.
Yeah.
We'll have to compare schedules to see when you're in, but my dad may be very shy, or I don't know, he may
That's
hug you
okay.
in a huge I don't know. Yeah.
I plan to be there much more for season 3 than I was before. So hopefully the scheduling will work out just fine. But
Mm,
oh, well, I mean, I love that we've talked about our warrior family. I love that we've
mhm.
talked about your, you know, nuclear family. And, one of the questions I'm sort of asking everybody in this cycle is about family. Like, just when you think of the word family, when you think of sort of the best version of the word family, like, what are the feelings that are evoked by that?
I think how I was raised and brought up, family has always been kind of the anchor of my whole identity.
Mm,
Not having many, whether it's growing up without many friends or um, very overprotective parents. And so, I wasn't allowed to go out much growing up. They really instilled in us that family is all you really have.
mm,
It's the people that you can, rely on. There's no judgment. Trust is, one of the most important um, characteristics that you have to live by. So it's like your word.
yeah.
I take family very seriously. So when I feel like um, I choose new family, whether it's, in LA or set families, it for me, it really does mean a lot. And there's, we keep in touch. Whether it's not a phone call every day, but I know what's going on when we meet up. Hopefully it's like we never left each other. It's just a knowing of that non-judgment, reliable, um, unwavering acceptance.
Mm,
That's what family is for me.
yeah. Oh, that's
Yeah.
beautiful. Well, and you're about to add on a new family member, right? Like, I always
Oh,
think that's so strange, like, because 'cause you're engaged.
I
Let's be
am
clear.
engaged.
Because you're
I am a
engaged.
child. No, I'm not.
No.
Let's not start that.
No.
I thought
No,
that's what you meant. I'm
no,
like, what?
not starting that rumor. Um, but that is what you're doing when you marry. You're
Yeah.
saying to this person, "I want you to be my family,"
Hmm.
right?
Um, there's no sons we have 3 girls, so I have 2
Mm.
sisters. And the excitement on my mother's face knowing that she has a son is like a love I don't think me and my sisters ever received. She's like, he can do no wrong. She's in awe of him. My dad gave him a compliment on his work, which is there's no pleasing my father. He even said to me, he's like, Diane, you have potential. And if you were great, I wouldn't even tell you. I'm like, oh, lovely. But with him, it's like, you're just gonna be a star. Um, But it's been
Oh,
really, it's been special. It's been really lovely, seeing, again, acceptance, how my parents have really taken him in as, one of us, and they call him son, which is really crazy. And his parents are amazing, and my parents and his parents hang out, which
wow.
is, I've never experienced that, and I think it's a little rare, so I'm just gonna take it.
Take it.
Um, but yeah, I get to, have another sister and a niece, and so it's exciting. It's, yeah, to be an auntie, and, it
Yeah,
really is a blending of 2 families.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and so far, I will say we've been, pretty lucky with how it's all ending up. But yes, new family. That's
Yay.
very true.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, no. I loved hearing you talk about family and what it's meant to you, and then, to bring that into, your relationship with Manny and
Mhm.
those same qualities. And it leads me to want to ask the question about, my father's quote, under the heavens, under the sky, there's but one
One
family,
family.
right?
Mhm.
And so it's like, okay, these are the qualities we think of in terms of our personal family. But when we think about our one family, right?
Mhm.
And especially given the state of the world these days and how there's so much um, polarities and things like that, like, well, what do you think are the qualities we need to bring to our humanity to help our one family be more unified?
I already said this word, but I truly believe that we can all benefit from leading with acceptance
Mm,
and empathy.
mm,
You know, we can have different opinions, whether it's political or religion or, anything that's going on in the world. But at the end of the day, and I think, your father touched on this, down to our core, we're the exact same people. We're the exact same creature. We're the exact same atoms. And if we can lead with a little bit of more empathy, of, we just don't, I this is something that I try to live by, is, if whether it's having a hard day or you just see someone that, or yourself, it's like, you never know what anyone's going through,
yeah.
and you can't judge that. And so we need to leave space for each other,
Yeah.
especially, the past 2 years. And
Mhm.
everyone went through that and dealt with the pandemic differently.
Yep.
And so how we emerge out of it, we could be better people, we could be worse people, we could have really taken the time to work on ourselves, or not. People have
Yeah.
been through financial ruin, and I just feel like going
Mhm.
throughout the world with just a little bit more grace and empathy will, I don't know if I'm answering your question, but
You totally are.
yeah,
Totally are. Yeah. I
it's
mean, for me, like, the word acceptance also
yeah,
means it also means allowance, like allowing for people to be who they are,
yeah.
like, and understanding that we are all acting through our own set of circumstances, right?
Mhm.
And so, like what you're saying, not to judge because we have no idea, like, what that person's life has been, what that person's day has been, any of that. And we're all inherently trying to do our best, even if we don't have a lot of consciousness about what our best might be, right?
Right.
Because we're all just trying to, get through our days and wanting the world to be, a better place for ourselves within it and all of that. So I think you've answered the question beautifully. I mean, acceptance and empathy. It's,
Mhm.
the components of compassion, right? It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I think
And
that's
I'm
a
not
beautiful.
I'm not trying to say, we can't judge, we don't know what people are going through, so we're allowing them, anyone, not them, anyone, to do bad. It's not that. It's not that
Of
I'm
course.
excusing that. It's just, I hope that through everything, we can all unify as,
Yes.
yeah, I
Of course, I mean, it's
Yeah.
not that we're here to tolerate bad behavior.
Yes, exactly.
But in dealing with the bad behavior, we can say to ourselves, well, this bad behavior came from somewhere, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so we can deal a little bit more compassionately with the bad behavior at the same time as actually dealing with it,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
So and not just like giving it a pass, right? Like,
Right.
no, we have to all come work together. But I always say, like, it's possible to express even the most difficult things um, a little bit more easily if you can do it with kindness, you
Hmm.
know? And so it's like, or just at least do it with some um, some sense of compassion. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But so thank you for that. I
Oh.
just love listening to everyone's answers, like about this, because you know there are a lot of components to it, and I think we do all like one of the things is we all do feel similarly, So it's like I love putting those answers out in the world. I'm sure the listeners are resonating with it too and going, yeah,
Mhm.
and it's like, let's create that positivity, that cohesiveness, that energy,
Yeah.
of acceptance, empathy, love, all the different things that people have been saying. So,
Mhm.
um, so tell me about acting. How did you decide to be an like what was the call there and like when did you start and all of that?
I wanna say this was my greatest rebellion. I've never said that out loud before, but, my it just fell on me weirdly. My parents, again, they were working a lot of the time because, they were just trying to establish themselves within
Right.
Canada, and so at the age of they put me in, taekwondo, Thai kickboxing. They wouldn't let me do soccer or gymnastics. They were scared I would break something.
Mm.
Don't understand the logic, but like taekwondo, you're fine.
Yeah,
Um,
right.
and then at the age 10, they put me in ballet and dance, and in hindsight, a very expensive daycare. Um, but I had that discipline, which I don't think I had growing up, which
Mm,
was, an art, and there's a right way to do something.
mm,
Um, and there's a lot of wrong ways, but there's one right way to do this move. And so when I went to high school in grade 9, it was a leap of faith, and I just wanted to try drama 9
mm,
as an elective. I didn't tell my parents, and I just fell in love with it.
mm.
It was terrifying, and I think that's why I loved it so much. It was
Yeah.
an unknown. There is elements of improv which I've never been allowed to do, being raised in a very strict Vietnamese family. It's We were told what our opinion is. We were told what to think, what to
Mm,
say, how to act. And
mm.
in drama, it's like, try whatever, which I was not great at. I just froze. But it's this unknown of, this allowance for freedom that I was never given. And I just gravitated towards it, and um, was in a school play and was hooked from the stage. And there's key moments that happened in those classes that I just, you know, I remember we did a scene from The Breakfast Club, and I was the basket case. And
Uh-huh.
um, out of nowhere, it was like a performance. So there was a spotlight on the group, and I just started bawling my eyes out. And my mom was always like, do not cry in public, do not show emotion. If there's a problem, go home and we'll figure it out. But like, just be the model minority. And
Mm,
I just burst out crying. And I don't even know if the scene called for it, but it was this release of
yeah.
something deep. It was like therapy for me.
Mm,
And I just ran with it. I somehow got into business school, convinced my parents to take a year off, like a deferred year. And, I did 2 days of class a week in Vancouver. And that's what kind of moved me out to Vancouver. And then it was always a very big chance that I will not do this.
yeah,
What are the chances I could live off of arts? And
right.
um, it was one female director that I met shooting my show over in Ireland that planted that seed of like, why don't you try LA? Why don't you try for your work visa? So I feel like there hasn't been a clear path at all
Mhm.
for acting and for me. And Warrior came at a time where I was in LA and I had no prospects. And I did a little thing back in Canada, and it just came at the right time and the right place. And
Mm.
a lot of my Warrior experience has been not negative, but in a fear place. And I'm
Yeah.
unpacking it right now to be like, no, I'm supposed to be there. This is my role,
Yeah.
and fully embracing it. But season one, I will say, I heard everyone's casting story, and mine was just so different that
Mm.
I felt like I I felt like you guys would wake up one day and be like, it's the wrong person. We made a mistake. And so I season one literally was me putting my head down and being like, I need to work the hardest I've ever worked to prove that it's supposed to be my role. Like it's mine. I
Yeah.
just didn't believe it because, months prior, I just heard from, let's say Olivia was like, I flew down, I met Shannon and Justin and Danielle and Jonathan. And I was like, what? Like, I didn't have that experience, and I just felt like I was the last person cast, and it's just
Right.
these mind games that you do to yourself to make you feel smaller in this
Totally.
industry, and, I just thought you guys settled with me and Mai Ling, and I truly, it's like, I unpack now, I'm like, "How could I do that to but, yeah, all
I mean,
season 1,
you could also just, like, totally flip the script on that and
I
be
will
like
not allow.
and
I
just be
wouldn't
like
allow.
and just be like, "They didn't need to see me because they knew I was amazing."
Well, eh yeah, but God, I mean, thank you. I
Yeah.
just remember Brad, um, looking at me every day. He's like, "Chin up, kid. Like,
Yeah.
have some fun." I'm like, "No, I need to figure this out. Like, Brad, I will have fun later."
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
acting
Well,
is,
let me dispel any fears that you may have.
oh
I mean,
gosh.
you were 100% wanted, and I think I will say this, your role was really tricky to cast because it was really dependent on a number of the other roles,
Mm,
and so it was like making sure to pin down, you know, Andrew Koji and,
right,
because you're playing his sister and all that
right.
kind of stuff, and, like, so it was one of the last roles to be cast, but not for any reason other than that. And I remember seeing your tape and your pictures and all this kind of stuff, and just thinking, I think everybody just thought you were a no brainer. So, you know,
Oh
uh,
gosh. Well, thank you. I'm not fishing, I promise. This was just
no,
really
no,
my
no.
story about my
No, not at all.
experience
And
with.
I'm not trying to. I'm just saying, like, oftentimes our minds can play
Oh,
such tricks on ourselves. And I'm always trying, I'm teaching myself this all the time. I'm relaying it to my daughter all the time, where I'm like, you don't have to go with the worst case scenario. If you
hmm,
don't know the answer to, like, why something happened or what everyone was thinking, which we usually don't, you can choose to go with, the more positive story
mhm.
for yourself, because the more positive story will uplift you a little bit more. So, but I hear you. By the way, that is a human trait. I do it too. Like, something happens, you're like, "Oh no, did I they must be
Yeah,
thinking this." You know what I mean?
yeah. I will say going on, you trying to look for the brighter side or the flip side of it, lately, especially with, the last 2 years of whatever we wanna call this pandemic or, um, to lead with, and I'm really working on this, with gratitude. Like,
Yeah,
I just got to work for the first time in almost 2 years, which is crazy to think about.
yeah,
and just every day coming on set and being so grateful to be there, and you really don't know when it's going to happen again.
Right.
Like things, not like I'm not good enough, but like the world could shut down again. And
Totally.
what we make is so, this industry in my head, I'm like, yes, we bring comfort, but also we make movies for a living. Like that's not what's important in the whole grand scheme of things. But for me to just lead with gratitude has been a game changer in, even my mental health, how I feel every day. I'm going in it on the positive note. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's that true, that little switch that you can do. And
Yeah.
it's been a game changer.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that I always try to tell people about my father is that, clearly he worked his body really hard, but he worked his mind just as
Yes.
hard. And that is a practice. Like you can have some, you can train your mind, right? And so, yes, naturally, automatically, for most of us, we tend to pick up the worst case scenario or give into fear, give into negativity. But you can train your mind to adjust and to pick up a different pattern of
Mhm.
a different process of analysis, right? Or perspective. So I think that's beautiful. And I think that's so helpful for people listening as well. And I do wanna say one thing which I loved you when you were telling the story of, like, taking acting in high school and, like, being in love with the unknown. That is such a rare gift. Like, I really want you to know that. So many people just, like, they can't tap into the enthusiasm and the excitement around the unknown. The unknown is so fearful for so many people. And so the fact that for you, you were like, "Freedom!" is really marvelous, and that is something you need to own and, like,
Thank you.
fully bring into your perspective as well. That's amazing.
I I can't take all the credit for it because I don't know if it's still in me. I feel like I'm so tightly wound, like everything has a right place and a time, and but
Mm,
yeah, looking back, who knew what sparked that curiosity or that
yeah,
wanting for something new? But you're totally right. Bringing that into work now, I feel like
yeah.
it can only, yeah, it can only help people. I did this interview yesterday, and they were like, "Do you have anything to shout out?" And I think my main thing was being fearless. You
Yeah,
know, I want to take my own advice, but just at a time like right now, owning whatever it is, your story, you, and going out there and just whether it's arts or whatever industry you're in, just trying something new and knowing that people do want to stand back and support you.
yes.
I think go yeah, because it's inspiring seeing people right now, writing their own stories, getting things, production companies made,
Yeah,
buying rights. It's so inspiring to see our community just uplift one another and like fully embrace who we are. And
yeah,
there's no more, standing on the sidelines and supporting others. It's our time to
yeah,
like fully shine. And yeah,
yeah,
I'm
and
ranting. I'm ranting right now.
you're not ranting. No, it's beautiful, it's beautiful, and I love that, I love that you're being inspired every day, and I do want you to tap back into whatever that feeling was in high school and, like, bring it with you wherever you go,
Mhm.
because that is the beginning of fearlessness. It's like to not fear the unknown, but to embrace it as the widest possibility that there is, right? Because when you because the unknown is like, oh gosh, anything can happen. So
Mhm.
let's put enthusiasm in there. um, so what are you excited about right now? Like what's lighting you up?
Well, um, I I was allowed to do a comedy. That sounds so gross. That's not what I meant to say. I booked 2 comedy features that I just wrapped, and to be in that new space, how terrifying that was. The first one, was I think the perfect way to get back, into back to work. I was a supporting role, and I was so happy to be there and support everyone. But to watch people that I admire, um, their hard work, their work ethic, their comedic timing was what a learning experience. Literally just sitting and watching and cracking up and, breaking is what they call it. And then to go right into it was a dark rom-com and to be the lead. I had, it was me and a co-lead and by the way, I walk in and I'm wearing my Bruce Lee sweatshirt, your father's face on it. And Connor is my co-lead. His backpack had Bruce Lee pins on it.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, is this for show or I didn't ask it like that, but
Yeah.
oh, I Bruce Lee. And he goes, he is such a follower of your father's philosophy, it's amazing.
Wow.
Your father's way of life, his body of work, his physical body, how he trained, his his work ethic. And he could have talked to me for hours about Bruce Lee, and he didn't know that I was in Warrior at the time, but
Oh
just
my gosh.
blown away. There was one day on set where I could just talk about Warrior for hours, and like what your father has brought. He has such a huge community, and any way you're attached to it, whether you believe in his philosophy or his movies or anything,
Right.
we brought together, and it's just been amazing to meet people, from all over. But I got to lead a film for the first time, and it was so much work. But I left it being like, I'm so capable of this. Like what an empowering experience. I know I can do this. On Warrior, we are all leads of the show, but there's so many of us that, we get breaks besides Koji. We get breaks for the most part. But to know what it feels like to lead a set and set a tone and, welcome new people onto my set and how I want it run. And it's just been, I'm so refreshed. After a long dormant period, I'm so excited to get back and thinking about, how I was in season 1, who, myself was, and what I'm going to bring to season 3. It's just like, I'm so excited.
Yeah. Look out, everybody.
To get back to work. Yeah. Yeah.
Mai Ling's going to be on fire. Season 3.
Let's just see what happens. Yeah, it's been
That's
an
awesome.
exciting, busy couple months, and now I'm like, now I want to get my shit together, if I can swear on this, and
You can.
and direct something. I've been saying it for a very long time. I'm saying it out loud because I need to be held accountable. But
Yeah.
my manager's been like, Diane, you have to direct something before you go back to season 3. And I'm like, time is ticking. But whether it's a short or a sizzle, like I'm just so excited to get creative again. I think, the last 2 years has been living in fear of what's happening. And now it's like slowly shedding that and letting it go, and just, I'm ready.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Yes.
Yeah. Our new refreshed Diane.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. So mark my words, Shannon.
Okay.
I'm going to direct something.
Yay. All right.
Yeah.
I'll be one of your accountability people.
Oh, jeez. What have I done? Yeah. I did it to myself, really. I said it out loud.
No, I like it. I like it. That's amazing. And I hope you find an opportunity
Thank you.
to do that very soon. And
We just have to make it. We have to make our own.
You do. It's true. And in this day and age, it's so possible. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally. So one question I ask everybody at toward the end of the of our time together is, um, what is some piece of wisdom or some lesson that you've learned for yourself that if you could just pass it along to someone and it could be something that they could hold on to? What is something you'd like to pass along? It doesn't have to be like, oh, the most amazing piece of wisdom you ever heard, but just something that's been beneficial to you that you want to pass along to someone else.
Hmm. I think I've been given many tidbits over my time,
Yeah.
but one that I feel like speaks volumes to me is to remember to be your most authentic self,
Mm,
because in a day and age of social media, or I don't even know how, children are growing up right now and teenagers,
yeah.
but to be who you are to your core. There are people out there and you will find them that will gravitate towards you, and those are your people.
Yeah.
I feel like we're trying so hard to be what, I want to be what you want me to be. And what are you looking for? I can be that. And it's just
Right.
showing up as you. People will accept that because, I feel like your inner self will shine through, and you're a magnet to those who want to be in your life. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I would just say to carry yourself throughout the world as your authentic self.
Beautiful. Very Bruce Lee of you. Self-actualization, right? Um,
Yeah.
honestly expressing yourself, all of that.
Yeah.
And I will say too, like everyone in this world is looking for their unique hook, their unique angle, their unique this. And I'm like, there's no one more unique than you,
Uh-huh.
right? Like if you cultivate who you are and as you say, show up as your authentic self everywhere you go, that's unique. No one else can be who you are.
Mhm.
So we all have that unique angle. We just have to cultivate it. And
I just want people to embrace it too,
yeah, yeah,
because
yeah,
yeah, there's so much negativity on like, societies of like, well, I'm this and I'm that and I'm too
right.
much of this. It's no, you're
Yeah,
not. You're just perfect the way you are. And there's always room for improvement,
of
but
course.
who you want to be and who you are is just like show up as that.
Yeah. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Oh, thank you so much. I have loved talking to you. This has been so fun.
Thank
And,
you.
we'll catch up uh, on all the regular things when we have lunch or whatever we do.
I'd love
Um, but now that you're back in LA, but thank you for coming on here and sharing your experience, your wisdom, your thoughts, being vulnerable, all those things. Thank you for showing up as your authentic self.
that. Thank you.
Seriously.
Thank you. And thank you for holding this, safe space for
Mm,
people to come on and just have a conversation. I feel like
yeah.
it's not for show, but it's just you and I talking, and I really appreciate that. There's no pressure, and it's just been a lovely experience. So thank you for even
Oh,
thinking of me to be here. Thank
oh,
you.
of course I would think of you. You're amazing. No, thank you. And that is the point. It's just, the theme is family, but this is one way, like for us to just show up and be able to have our conversation and speak um, casually but authentically and share our thoughts. It's just a way for us to connect, through our own humanity with each other, and hopefully in that way other people connect to us.
Mhm.
So thank you. Thank you for
Thank you.
sharing. Thank you for being here. And I'll see you real soon.
I'll see you soon.
Okay.
Thank
Bye.
you.